Yeah, my name is Nick. My real name is Nick Rotteveel, and I'm a DJ, producer, um, composer. I play music under the name Nicky Romero, and we started a record label called Protocol Recordings, and we have our own radio show, Protocol Radio. So we mainly release records that I produce myself or that I co-produced, and we do sign talented artists from all over the world, and we do all the mixing and everything in the house. I started producing music in 2008, and I started off just in my bedroom, like a lot of other young DJ producers do. Um, I made records with all kinds of software, and it was never really professional, and I had a hard time get it signed everywhere. It took me at least 2 years to get my first record signed, really. And after that, things started to get rolling somehow, and people started to ask for me, promoters started to ask for me to play shows, and I got remix requests. And from 2011, I started working in a professional studio, and I learned a lot from another DJ. Well, actually, he was more of a producer. His name was John Deerne, and a really talented guy, really good at mixing, but he never really made a lot of dance music. And I was there to make dance music, of course. So it was a pretty cool process, as I learned a lot about mixing, and I tried to help him producing some dance music. There was a really important moment in my life when I started to produce songs like Toulouse and Legacy, and they were all made close by, actually. And they were my first big successes, and I think Toulouse was the first big record, and it got like 339 million views on YouTube, so that was pretty big. And it was like a kickstart of my career. Yeah, after a couple of years, I was approached by David Guetta, which is one of the biggest EDM DJs there is, and a super talented guy as well. And I learned a lot from him, how to work on songs rather than club tracks. And I started to approach music differently. I saw the chords and the a cappellas and the vocals, how much they impacted songs. So my way of working changed as well. I was not so much focused on how loud the kick drum should be. I was also focused on how to actually arrange a song and how to mix a song and how should the vocals be mixed into the song. And thanks to David Guetta, I got to work on a song of Rihanna, which is called Right Now, and First of the Runway, and a couple of other songs on her album Unapologetic. And that was actually done in Metropolis Studios in London. And that was the first time when I actually realized, okay, approaching a song is totally different when it's for like a major act, like a proper vocalist or singer or artist or whatever, whatnot. When it's not a DJ, then the process is totally different. So is the mixing, and so is, how to mix vocals in the song. So I learned so many things that year. I think it was 2013 when that happened. Yeah, I'm really thankful for that, and I still use that process now into my daily routine. When DJing, it's really important that you have blocks. Like, as we speak in 126 BPM or till 128, after 15 seconds something is gonna come in, or actually something is gonna go out. It could be an impact, it could be a sound, it could be an FX, it could be something, or a clap will be added, and it's all blocks. So it's 15, it's 30 seconds, 45, 1 minute. And we know when, as DJs, it's either 30 seconds or it's either 1 minute that it's going to go into the first breakdown, where the actually first verse starts, or when it's an instrumental song, that's where the theme comes in. So for a DJ, the timing and the blocks that you use are really important. As you are playing it live, you know when to mix, and you know when actually change, when you have to change from A to B. So that is really important, and with structure, you can really make or break a song. If the song doesn't have the right structure, it's going to be really hard to play, not only live, but also on radio. The only thing is, the approach to a radio song is totally different than the approach for a club song. So that is the arranging of a song is really interesting, and it's really different. But for a DJ, the blocks are super important. So when I start a clip song, I know that it needs to be, for me to play, it needs to be in between 124 and 128 BPM. That's really necessary for my live sets because I know that is where the energy is during my set. I know that people like to dance or move, at least my audience likes, to be in between 124 and 128. Structuring a song and introducing elements and everything and focusing on the BPM and know that the kick has to be loud and it has to be punchy and the transient has to push through everywhere because that's where the people go on that kick drum. When I make a radio song or more radio-oriented song, it's totally different. Then the kick is not as important as it is in a clip song. So then I would focus on writing the melody first. I would focus on, on the bridge and on the verses, on the chorus. How do they work together? Harmonies and all that. That would be my main focus. And then the kick and how punchy it is would come after. Protocol is the name for the label, of course, and we also named the studios after Protocol. It actually started in 2012, if I'm right. I'm not quite sure if it was 2000. I think so, yeah. And we started with one of my first releases called WTF, where it stands for. We all know, I think. But that was the first release we've done, and I played it on a big festival in the States, which is called Ultra. And that time I realized we need an own label. We need our own vision, our own face, our own designs. And I want to be able to put my song out whenever I like to put my song out and not having to wait for all the other artists that are signed to the particular label that we want to have, putting my music out. So we decided we have to make something for our own. And of course, it's a risk because the existing labels, and especially the bigger ones, the majors and everything, they have a big following and they have a big promo push system. For us, it would be all, by doing it ourselves, it would be a lot of work for ourselves. At the same time, we have a lot of control about how things are done and planned and scheduled. And I could actually design my own artwork. I can plan whenever I want to. If I wanted to have 3 remixes, that was fine. 4 was fine too. You see, this was an opportunity that I just wanted to take, and I thought it was needed in order to get to the next level in my career. Nicky Romero, of course, as an artist is one thing, but we have like extreme fans and they call themselves Protocol Family, which is an honor for us. So they consider themselves family of Protocol. So it's not only a brand anymore, it's like a lifestyle almost. So we decided to all the other aspects in my company, like radio and recordings and studios and even clothing. We have like our own clothing line and everything at the Protocol web store. It became more than just a brand. It was like a lifestyle. It was almost like people wanted to live it. We figured out when we went to Japan that people were dressing up in clothing that we sold online and that people have their own cell phones with Protocol logos. They even had my tattoos. And they even have Protocol logo tattoos tattooed everywhere on their body. So we figured like, hey, Protocol is a life on its own. It's not just a brand. It's not just my label anymore. So it became a movement, and we still benefit from that fact. We understand that fans are not only connected to Nicky Romero, but also to Protocol. That means all the other artists that are connected to our label, even the radio show, everything together is something that people want to, relate with somehow. And that became really important. We started off with our first building, which is just a corner building here, only with a Nicky Romero studio, which was just digital. It was all focused on in-the-box producing. And we had a second A&R room upstairs with just a quick setup for listening to demos and everything. And pretty soon, actually within 1 year, I found out like, hey, the music industry is changing so fast and it's changing to a direction I really like, which means more live audio. It means live performances. I'm actually a drummer and I play piano as well. So I really like the aspect of changing the industry to more live instruments. And I was like, we need to do something with the studios as well. So I wanted to have a live room where I can actually record my drums and my piano, and where I can actually record vocals properly. I actually wanted to work on radio, as the podcast became pretty important in the music industry. And I think podcast is underestimated. I really love to call it radio. It's not just a mix anymore, and I record a couple of lines, my own voice. It's not just that. It really is about me being behind a desk right now, mixing things live in a radio show, calling people from, like artists and fans all over the world, and incorporate that in my radio show. I was like, this is great, people want to feel that things are alive right now. So I was like, we need live studios. We need a live radio room. We need to be able to actually invite people and audience. I wanted to be able to call people in the show and make it feel like people are part of that radio show. And same goes for the live room here. Like, I can have a band play here and record it, and I can have some fans over here that can actually watch the band perform, or actually be here when the band is recording, for example. When I perform my own songs, I can actually record one of my own songs right here. I can play the piano of Legacy, or I could be the one, and I can play drums with it, and I can invite a bass guitar player and make some real cool video content. I saw so many possibilities, and also YouTube made things possible by YouTube Live and Facebook Live and all that, and Instagram Live. This way people can really be part of something no matter where they are. So even the location of this studio was not relevant anymore, because it was all about being live. So the whole studios and everything in every room there is here is able to connect to the internet right away. It's only one click away, really, to stream all the areas live. We have like a really small video control room upstairs that can actually control the cameras. Like, we have special cameras that go up and down. They can move all directions. They can zoom, and so it really feels like it's like everything here in this studio can be live broadcasted all over the world. We actually did one show already here a year ago where I was playing a DJ set here, and it was being recorded live and streamed live, like real time, to the other side of the world, to Mexico, where people were dancing to my set because they were looking at a screen and they saw me performing on a screen, and I was just here. And that was being broadcasted to Mexico, and people were just going crazy there. 15,000 people. And I was like, this is the future. So my own producing room, which is right next to here, is really about, I would make all my setups there. I would do all my, demos there. I produce kick drums there. I know that room very well. The sound set that I have there is really, really good. And I know that room so well that I know exactly, how a kick should sound like for the dance world, for the live stages and everything. And then now the process is really interesting, because I would finish a song in that room and I would bounce stems, literally like 8 or 9 stems. And I would send that over in our network here on the server. And we would literally import it here in this room and, stack it up in Pro Tools and start mixing on a desk. And you're focused on different details when you work in this room in comparing to the other. This room, a lot of people are surprised that I have it, that it's actually here. And I understand, because a lot of DJs don't need this all, to have their songs out. And you can actually send your demo or your song, your unfinished, unmixed song to a studio that would mix it for you. There are a lot of good, studios in England, for example, that do a great job on mixing your song. The thing is, I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to have complete control about what's happening. And I just really like it too much. I really want to do it myself. I want to just, touch the faders myself and see what it does. And I want to have the feeling that if I'm on stage, like this song, I produced, I mixed, and I recorded myself. Yeah. Maybe it's just an ego thing. I don't know. It's also just too much fun, to just let someone else do it. That's the thing also that's why we made the decision to work with the SSL, the 948 Delta, AWS, as we say in Dutch, AWS. Because it's so fast and it's easy to include in your workflow. It's so easy with the Total Recall and everything. That would really hold me off on, for example, the older models. It was just hard to get your songs on, on the console, and then you had to change everything the whole time and remember how the pop meters and everything were, and also how the faders were and everything. I was like, it's gonna take too much time. Like, there's one thing as DJs we don't have, and that is time, really, because we have to fly everywhere. You have all the jet lags, and it's not weird to have more than 150 shows a year. So that means you have to really use your time well. And we were looking for the quickest way to work without losing quality, actually while gaining quality. And we thought that this would be a great help. And so far we are blown away by its effect. My real good friend John Dearna, he works with the Duality, the SSL Duality, and I found it an absolutely crazy console to work with. It took me quite some time to actually get used to it because there are so many options and there's compressors to every channel, and yeah, the options are really endless. At the same time, I was like, okay, I don't really have the space that he has for the console, and the purpose of our building is a little different than from his. So I was actually talking to my friends in Belgium, and they helped me out with making a decision, Joystick actually, and they said like, yeah, so there is a console that can actually do most of the same thing as a Duality. It's much smaller, it's much more compact. It will fit in your room, and actually it's stereo. So that's going to be really easy if you want to mix dance tracks, if you have stereo channels to work with. And it has the same quality. So you'll still have the SSL sound and the SSL looks. And so we just like, okay, you know what? We'll order it. We believe you right away. And since that, we never want to get rid of it again anymore. So for me, one of the most important thing were the stereo channels, of course, because that is really helpful. I don't always have to, have two faders for one channel. So the inline thing of the table and of the console really was interesting. It took me a while before I actually understand how it worked with the, with the two channels, or actually one stereo channel with two functions. And what's also interesting is the automation side of it. I mean, you can literally draw and it will follow your drawing. Even though you draw a beautiful smiley, it will actually smile at you with the same thing with the fader. So that works great. It really feels like you have the analog sound using the benefits of digital. So I'd like to call it a hybrid console, really. You have best of both worlds. And I think there's, especially these days where the software and where a lot of people work in the box, I think right now this console offers you the best way out of the box without losing time, So that works great. You have the analog sound. I mixed my first record about a month ago. And if I play it out loud now, which I do play loud, and we compared it to other songs live, and the thing what stood out most was the fact that it felt like one package. It was one glued together package. I don't know if it had to do with the stereo widening on the table on certain things, because I really love the function that you can actually make your vocals this wide without having phasing problems and everything, or you can put your pads out there and make your bass super mono. It's actually only one knob away to achieve that all. And if you want to do that in software, you're going to work with delays and everything, or stereo expanders, and it will always mess with the sound. And here, no quality is lost when you do it, and it sounds super natural. And when you play it live, there is no other song that can stand out more than the one that's mixed on the SSL, if done properly, of course. And I think there's still a lot of time to experiment with it. I don't think I even know maybe 20% of the whole console yet, but the results that we booked so far are super interesting. Yeah, it took me some time to get used to the fact that you can control Pro Tools and everything right here with the knobs. I was used to working with the mouse and with just, with the keypad and everything. But here, even the escape and the paste and copy and everything shift is on the console. And it took me some time, and I called my friend John a lot of times to say like, hey, how do I do this? And he's like, there's only one button on the table. You can click it and it works. It's not like 10 mouse clicks as I'm used to with Logic, for example. Sometimes finding a function is just like 3 or 4 mouse clicks. And now sometimes it's just clicking one knob and it's there. Like almost everything in Pro Tools, all the most useful tools are right there already on your console. But it took me some time before I realized. And it also took some time before I got used to work that way. I think it's also cool to mention that we have a good friend, Jules. He works at Joystick. And if he watches this video, we say we are 100% happy with how he set everything up, because he always uses the sentence 100%. So he's done a great job also on patching the whole thing here, because it was pretty much, we got the SSL and we got a patch done by another company, and it didn't work well, and it was not how we wanted it in the end. And they literally came to the room and Jules said, okay, we're going to change this, that, and that. And from that moment, he took over the whole room and he built this crazy patch here. And literally, if there's something going on or I can't get something running, it's one phone call away. And he says like, oh, but the patch is done. And I know the patch on top of my head. So it's really easy. It's going to be this, that, and that. And we just, we plug a few things different and it works. And it always works. Yeah. It literally, every time when we were here and we said like something doesn't work, and we were like, okay, we're doing something wrong. And I was like, no, I've done everything right. And then I called Jules and he's like, no, you just have to change that and that cable. You know why? Because this and that and that. So every time we thought we got it right and that the gear was not working, it ended up us doing something wrong, because every time he proved to have everything done solid. So it's a cool process, and we are happy to work with them.